All right. So, good morning, everyone. Good morning, students. Today is another day, to learn an essential lesson in our subject. My name is Teacher Kai, your teacher in English, and we are be discussing about scanning and skimming. Okay, awesome. All right. So prior to discussing our lesson, here are our lesson objectives, right? So number one is define skimming and scanning. Number two, use reading styles, and number three, practice scanning and skimming texts for information. Okay. All right. So before going into the lesson, I hope you are sitting properly and has your pair of ears on you. Okay. So I just want to say, we all know that we have our different purposes. That's why we read. Correct. Sometimes we want to know what a passage is about or the main plot of the book is about. We sometimes worry about our upcoming examination or recitation, or maybe we just want to look for a specific information within, let's say, bunches and compilation of texts. And yes, reading greatly helps in all those cases and with so much more. However, though, what if we don't have much time to read? And well, skimming and scanning are ways to answer that. So these two are the reading styles that would be mainly talking about. Okay. All right. So first, let's discuss about what is scanning. Okay. So scanning is less reading and more searching. As per definition, scanning a text is a reading technique where the reader looks for a specific information rather than trying to absorb all the information. All right, take note of the keyword, all right? Just looking for the specific information. Okay. Next, we usually apply scanning when we look for a word in a dictionary. All right. For example, you want to look for the meaning of ambidextrous. You just have to get your dictionary and then flip all the pages and then find that word. And then you just, of course, okay, voila, the meaning of ambidextrous is there. And second example is find a phone number. If you are familiar with a telephone directory, I'm not sure if you have if you have that one, but most people in the United States use that. So it's like, or it's a book. It's a thick book of, or perhaps a huge book that has all telephone numbers of their relatives, acquaintances, let's say establishments, schools, organizations, so on and so forth. So if you want to look for a specific telephone number, you just have to use that telephone directory. Next is a messenger conversation. Of course, if you have like someone you are messaging with, for example, your Joa, all right? So, and he told you things that you don't remember, but you have a keyword in your mind that a specific word in your mind that you want to look at, right? When the time he said that, so you just have to scroll up and down and look for that message. And for example, is price of an item. So I'm not sure if you have experienced buying in Avon, if you have like Avon brochures, all right? So just or any catalogs of any, let's say, magazines, right? So you just have to look and flip the pages of the magazine, catalogs, or brochures. Then, and there, right there and then, you would be, you could find the price of an item that you're looking for. And last example for scanning is a table of contents. For example, you want to of course, what page is the topic of skimming and scanning is all about. For example, it's page 72. All right, so just just specific information. You don't have to like read bunch of stuff. So it's like merely that. It's that simple. Okay. Okay. So as I have mentioned a while ago, scanning is the best strategy to use in locating particular information and, of course, finding specific facts. Okay. Just have to keep in mind of these things. Have to remember that we have to be always familiar of the contents, and we have to keep in mind what we or you are looking for. All right, because it's hard. It's hard. It's tough for us to find specific information if we are not familiar with the contents of a, let's say, specific subject. For example, there's a novel that you read, that you want to read, but you are finding that a specific information, specific, let's say, specific place, all right, where that novel, where that, let's say, article happened. But if you're not familiar with the contents, then it would be hard for you to find that specific information. Okay, so let us practice, children. So let's apply scanning here. As you could see, this is a table of TV5 live schedule of children programs such as Batibot, Codename Kids Next Door, Dexter's Lab, Courage the Cowardly Dog, how ironic, and Powerpuff Girls. All right, so my question is, when does Dexter's Lab starts? At what time? Perfect. All right. So Dexter's Lab starts at 8 a.m. All right. So as you could see, all right, the information is right there. I mean, 8 a.m. You just have to like look at it, use your eyes, all right, move your eyes up and down, and you could, um, you know, see the information obviously. So that's how we use scanning. Very simple. Okay. So let's move on to the next reading strategy, which is skimming. All right. So I just I just want to ask everybody, do you ever feel like you spend way too much time reading, or do you have like trouble determining which parts of the text are the most important? Or do you wish you could collect information from books in a quicker and more efficient way? And if so, consider skimming the next time you sit down to read the text. All right. So, what is skimming? As per definition, it is a strategic, selective reading method in which you focus on the main ideas of a text. All right, just the main ideas of a text for you to have like the bigger picture, the clear picture of what that text is all about. Okay. Next, these are the skimming methods that you could use. Number one is beginning and endings. Okay. So you should read first and last sentences of the paragraphs. You could read the first and last paragraphs of major sections and introductions and summaries of chapters. Second one is wheat versus chaff. So you would just read only the amount of text necessary to determine if a section presents a main idea or support for a main idea. So you don't have to read all of the stuff in that certain text. And of course, the visual and verbal cues. All right, so you could watch for the signal words and phrases that indicates an author's direction. For example, however, although, moreover, in addition to. All right, so that's the methods for skimming. And of course, in skimming, you have to focus on the introduction and the conclusion, the chapter or section summaries, the titles, subtitles, and headings, bold words, charts, graphs, or pictures, and end of chapter review questions. All right, you have to focus on the big stuff. Okay, all right. So, as per here, skimming is not only flipping through a text quickly or paying half attention to it. All right, because that is called scanning. Scanning is the opposite of skimming. All right, when we skim, we should be deliberate and intentional with what you choose to read and make sure that you are focused. All right. So, of course, you have to be specific. You have to make sure that you are reading the right kind of thing. For example, okay, I want to know the main idea of of this text. All right. So, of course, you should focus to get the context of it and not just any random information from that article, from that book, or anything that you are reading. All right. You have to be focused. Okay. You have to be specific. So keep that in mind. Okay. And of course, our conclusion for today is skimming and scanning saves us time. All right. So that's totally it. It saves time. All right. So for example, you are in a rush and you want to know information about a thing, a certain text or a certain book. Skimming and scanning is a go-to. All right. So children, I hope you learned from our lesson today, and please remember all these things, as these are very useful with our next lessons or anything that, when it comes to reading and getting information from textbooks or articles and so on and so forth. So thank you so much for your participation. Thank you so much for listening, and God bless you. See you in our next lesson. And peace out.